light window starting in 5 knots and building to 10 knots. With the World's One, the Super Danes were on the shore, not bothering to sail. But there was a huge battle for second overall with only 1 point separating 3 boats, Morten, Hamlin and Higgins. Today's is the long course. Competitors sail upwind to the top mark, pass a clearance buoy and run down through a gate where they can elect which way to round. Again, the left side of the course was slightly favoured over the right. Findel and Watson in slam looked to have messed up their start. Findel and Jonas Tellen of Germany came out of the left to lead at the top mark. Second were the women's team of Fischer and Stenger, third Hamlin, Lanzinger and fourth Quirk and Lang. Carter Jackson and Ian Taylor were also right up the front. The light winds again made for tight roundings. Morten and Nelson were deep and looked like losing second overall. Boat 8-7 is Paul Greenhalgh and Jeff Keogh, sailing with a borrowed main, borrowed jib and borrowed spinnaker. Findel and Tellen continued to lead from Fischer and Stenger in a German 1-2 and Hamlin was third from Tor. At the bottom mark 4 wide, Jackson made it hard for Jewson and Spencer to give room to the 2 British boats. Both the Higgins boys were having a good race. But it was sure busy at the rounding. For Leg 2, after the competitors clear the gate, they again sail back upwind to the top mark. They then reach to the wing mark, jibe, and then reach to the bottom mark. Upwind was again marginal trapezing conditions and it was hot work for all. Findel and Tellen continued to lead whilst Hamlin and Lanzinger just crept past Fischer and Stenger. The light winds kept the huge fleet relatively close and made a spectacular sight. Into the jibe mark, our leaders were unchanged, but behind them there was a tight battle. Findel and Tellen cleared out on the second reach, stretching their lead to nearly a minute. For Leg 3, after completing another beat and a run, competitors sail one final beat to the finish. The women's team managed to wire across the bottom reach and round with the gap on 4th place Tor and Bell. Hamlin and Lanzinger made some big gains on the leader and closed to be right on their stern at the top mark. With one more run and one more work, we had a great battle for the win. And with perfectly synchronised kite sets, it was sure to remain close. Fischer and Stenger shoot the top mark in third. Back in the fleet, a little Higgins and Marsh round in 10th. Second overall looks to be out of reach, but not third. Queenslanders Earl Alexander and Ian Gregg leave Phil Gray and Dick Machin. Time for a new wetsuit, perhaps. At the bottom mark, the Germans have extended back to a 6-second lead and they cover tightly up the final work. In the end, they lead start to finish and manage to jump to 7th overall. Hamlin's second place is enough to move him to second for the 7th time at the World Championships. Tor and Bell pick up third and place 6th overall, edging Pennell and Hunt into 4th, but they finish 4th overall. Quirk and Lang score a 5th, Fischer and Stenger drop back to 6th, and Higgins and Marsh 7th moves them up to 3rd overall. Jewson and Spencer have another strong result to pick up 10th overall at their first World Championship. Ebba Rosen and Ollie Wenrup from Sweden had another good race, but Mike Martin and Jeff Nelson had a disappointing last race, dropping them from 2nd to 5th overall. Now let's look at the overall placings. Coming in first, Jan Saugmann and Morten Ramsbaek of Denmark. Second for the 7th time, Howie Hamlin and his crew of Fritz Lanzinger. Third was the locals, Sandy Higgins and Paul Marsh. Ian Pennell and Steve Hunt from Great Britain were 4th. Mike Martin and Jeff Nelson from the USA in 5th. Kevin Taugher and John Bell, also of the USA, in 6th. Jens Findel and Jonas Tellen from Germany 7th. Nick Adamson and Steve Bordeaux of the USA in 8th. 9th was Boris Herman and Julian Kleiner, and 10th was the second Australian boat and also locals Robin Jewson and Jordan Spencer. Now let's cross to hear from the SAP 505 World Champions, Jan Saugmann and Morten Ramsbaek of Denmark. Congratulations, Blake. World Champions for 2007. You must be ecstatic. Tell us how you feel.
Well, slowly it's we're starting to realize what this is about. After the racing yesterday, actually my wife and I went off to some friends here in Adelaide where we had a barbecue and it was very quiet, so I didn't know about all the fuss going on the harbour while Morten was taking all the interviews and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But now I'm beginning to realize what it's about.
What about just then? You've had presentation, we've gone through, and the crowd went berserk. That must have been quite an experience.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is the 10th World we've done, and we've always been to the prize-giving ceremony, and we've always seen the winner and sitting there at the table. Said, I mean, we hope that could be us, and now it's finally our turn to do it, and that's a big thing.
This is something we all dream about as young kids, and I guess actually fulfilling the fantasy is just something very special.
It certainly is. As I said in my speech in there, it has been my aim to do this, and I've been hoping to do it, but deep inside there has always been doubts, of course, but now we did it. So
I think the major thing was that we had a pretty good speed, but the key thing for us in this regatta was that we were probably a little bit smarter than the rest of the group. It seemed to be like a herd mentality. Sometimes we did our own decisions, went the other way than the rest of the group, and we benefited from that. And from race 4 to race 8, we were consistently very, very good. And that was simply because the wind was a little bit shifty and it was a little bit lighter and it was a little bit more tricky. And we played that game extremely well, and that was definitely the difference.
And so ends another World Championship. It was almost the perfect event with great sailing, great camaraderie and plenty of fun. Thanks to all our sponsors, particularly SAP, and thanks to all the officials and volunteers who gave so much of their time. It couldn't have been done without you. We'll see you in Italy in 2008.